Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I have to tell you, my heart has just been in my absolute throat lately watching our sweet Trina Robinson go about her days, completely unaware of the shadow that seemed to be lurking right behind her. For the longest time, we have all been sitting on the edge of our living room sofas, clutching our pearls and worrying ourselves sick over this mysterious stalker following her every move. When you see someone secretly snapping pictures of a young woman who has already been through the ringer of life, your mind immediately goes to the darkest places. We have all been so terribly protective of Trina because she has suffered such unimaginable heartbreak, and the very thought of some sinister stranger plotting against her was almost too much to bear. But hold on to your hats, because the truth that is starting to bubble up to the surface is nothing short of a miracle, and it proves that sometimes the universe works in the most mysterious and beautiful ways. It turns out that this so-called stalker is none other than Quinn, and I will be the first to admit that I had him pegged all wrong. Lord knows I took one look at that boy and thought he was just another spoiled, self-centered troublemaker who only cared about himself. Trina thought the exact same thing, and you really cannot blame her for keeping her guard up. But there is an old saying that you should never judge a book by its cover, and Quinn is proving that to be true in spades. Our dear Trina was absolutely knocked for a loop when she discovered that this supposed bad boy has actually been spending his free time volunteering at a local homeless shelter. It just goes to show that people can carry such deep goodness in their hearts, even when they hide it behind a tough exterior. Trina was stunned to see this compassionate side of him, just like she was slow to warm up to Kai Taylor until she really got to know the man underneath. Now, Trina does not know the first thing about the homeless shelters in Port Charles, because, bless her heart, she just does not run in those circles. She has no idea about the forgotten souls who end up there, people who have fallen through the cracks of society and are just desperate for a warm meal and a safe corner to rest their heads. If she were to walk through those doors, she would be shocked to see the reality of it all. There are folks in there dealing with severe physical disabilities and some who have completely lost their memories, wandering through life without an anchor. But the biggest shock of all, the one that would absolutely stop her heart from beating, is that one of those lost souls, sitting right there in the shadows of Port Charles, is the very man she has been mourning. Yes, my friends, the rumors are pointing to the incredible possibility that our beloved Spencer Cassadine is alive. Just thinking about the condition this poor boy is in brings tears to my eyes. The word on the street is that the folks at the shelter do not even recognize him, which is just wild when you think about how famous the Cassadine family is in our town. But life has a way of knocking you down, and Spencer has taken a terrible beating. He was found huddled away as a stowaway on a cargo ship that recently docked in Port Charles, and he was in rough shape. He is suffering from severe head and facial injuries, which completely mask his handsome features and make him look like a completely different person. It reminds me so much of what happened to Drew Kane when he first came to town, battered and bruised, with no idea who he truly was. Port Charles has a brand new mystery man on its hands, another lost soul trying to piece together a shattered mind. Because of his terrible head trauma, Spencer cannot speak clearly, and he certainly cannot remember his grand Cassadine lineage. The only thing he knows, the only tiny little thread connecting him to his past, is a name he struggles to say. He tries so hard to say Trina, but because his speech is so impaired, it comes out sounding like Trini. So the kind folks at the shelter have just taken to calling him Trinido. It breaks my heart into a million little pieces to picture him sitting there, struggling to form the name of the woman he loves, with no idea why that name brings him such a deep sense of comfort. He is not getting the proper medical or psychological treatment he so desperately needs, but thank the good Lord above, he has Quinn. Quinn is the one bright light in his dark world, a dedicated volunteer who has started to put two and two together. Quinn suspects that this broken man might just have a connection to Trina, and that is where those mysterious photographs come into play. Quinn is not a creepy stalker at all. He is a secret savior. He has been taking those pictures of Trina all over town to build a memory board for Spencer. He is desperately trying to jog the poor boy's memory, hoping that seeing Trina's beautiful face in familiar places will spark something deep inside his injured brain. It is such a pure, selfless act. Quinn is gathering these moments, these little snapshots of Trina's life, and bringing them back to the shelter to show his patient. He is trying to bridge the gap between a lost man and the love of his life. And I just think that is the most romantic and tragic thing I have ever heard. But there is a catch, and it is a fascinating one. When Quinn puts these pictures together for Spencer, he is very careful to cut Kai Taylor completely out of the frame. Why? Because every time Spencer sees another man standing close to Trina, he gets terribly upset. Even with his memory completely wiped clean, even with his mind in absolute tatters, his soul still recognizes that Trina belongs to him. The sheer emotion of seeing her with someone else is too much for his fragile state to handle. It just proves that true love is not stored in the brain. It is woven into the very fabric of the heart. Spencer might not know his own name, but he knows down to his very bones that he loves that girl and he wants to protect her. We also have to talk about how in the world Spencer ended up in this terrible predicament. We all remember that tragic trip on the Seine River in Paris, a nightmare that still haunts my dreams. That wicked Esme Prince, bless her dark and twisted heart, caused so much pain and destruction. It is highly likely that the terrible amnesia Spencer is suffering from was caused by whatever awful substance Esme injected him with before he fell into those freezing waters. It is a miracle he did not drown right then and there. Somehow, against all odds, he washed ashore, and the only things he clung to, the only possessions he had left in this world, were those little white doves of Trina's. Those doves have such a profound spiritual meaning for him. They are a symbol of hope, a symbol of peace, and a symbol of his enduring love for a girl waiting for him back home. Now you might be wondering, just like I am, why on earth Spencer would suddenly board a ship headed for Port Charles after being missing for so long, especially since he has only been at the shelter for a few weeks. That is a whole new mystery just waiting to be unraveled. Where has he been all these months? Who took care of him? Or did he wander the earth completely alone, driven only by a subconscious need to find his way back to the harbor of his hometown? It is a puzzle that is going to keep us guessing for quite some time. Once the town finally figures out that Trini Doe is actually Spencer Cassadine, one mystery will be solved, but a dozen more will spring up in its place. That is the magic of our beloved stories. There is always another layer to peel back, always another secret waiting in the shadows. I also completely understand why Quinn is keeping his mouth shut for now. Can you imagine the heavy burden he is carrying? He does not want to run to Trina and ask if she knows a man named Trini, because what if he is wrong? What if he stirs up all that old grief, all that terrible pain she has worked so hard to overcome, only to find out it is a false alarm? Or worse, what if it is Spencer, but he is so broken and damaged that the reunion shatters Trina's heart all over again? Quinn is being so incredibly protective of her feelings, taking things one slow step at a time. He wants to be absolutely sure before he turns Trina's world completely upside down. He is doing the hard work in the background, showing Spencer those pictures, hoping for that one clear moment of recognition that will make everything right again. I am just sitting here counting down the days until the truth finally comes out. I can already picture the moment Trina walks into that shelter, maybe dropping off some donations, and her eyes lock on to the battered face of the man she thought she lost forever. There will not be a dry eye in the house, let me tell you. The road ahead for them is going to be a tough road to hoe, filled with obstacles and healing, but if there is one thing I know for sure, it is that the love between Spencer and Trina is strong enough to conquer anything. We are going to be right here, watching every single step of this beautiful, heartbreaking journey, cheering them on with all our hearts. What a time to be a fan of this show, my friends.